welcome to this bonus edition of Squared Circle Radio right here on the YouTube channel or on podcast, whichever way that you are consuming this content. We appreciate it so very much. The young buck Andy York is with me. My name is Chris Belcher, and we are reacting, Andy, to WWE Unreal. The long-awaited Netflix series arrived this week. You and I have binge-watched all 5 episodes. We're going to dive into all of those things. But Andy, it's also SummerSlam week, a loaded week in the world of wrestling. How are we feeling?
Yeah, it's a crazy week. It feels a lot like a WrestleMania week in some ways, with how stacked the card is for SummerSlam, and then obviously WWE Unreal coming out. It just feels like they like to make things come out at one time and make you watch everything at one time. But yeah, it's an exciting week for sure.
It's one of those weeks where I know you're the same way that I am. After a WrestleMania week, I'm like, I just need to breathe. I just give me a day to just catch my breath.
I can't wait for that Tuesday after Mania.
I know. So I feel like SummerSlam, with it being 2 nights, they're starting to do the same thing. We've always said that this is the midway point of the year. This is the WrestleMania of the summer, and it finally really feels that way. So, again, if you're new to our channel, make sure that you subscribe, either wherever you find your podcast or on our YouTube channel. Drop your comments and questions below in the video. We'll make sure to get to each and every one of those. But, Andy, let's talk about WWE Unreal. Bottom line, what I want everybody to remember before we dive into this. Yes, this is unscripted. Yes, this is behind the scenes. Yes, this shows things that we aren't normally supposed to see as wrestling fans. But Andy, the bottom line is this is technically, it's made for entertainment and it's made for TV. And not everything might be as real as it seems. You get that with reality TV shows. I feel like, though, this, Andy, is a turned up version of that. What was your initial reaction after watching the episodes?
Yeah, so going into it, I kind of had the mindset of I'm going to believe about 60% of what I see. Sure. Just because, yes, I think they're going to show us some stuff behind the scenes, but I also know they're going to play a lot of the drama up for camera. They're going to play a lot of scenarios up and situations up for, just that moment. Yes. I think the thing that I took away the most and enjoyed the most was the stuff shot in Gorilla during the actual shows. Yep. Because I think that's the most realistic thing we got was, again, I didn't know how much producers actually did, like producers of certain matches actually did during the match, but seeing what they had to do, I think adds even more appreciation. You see how much Triple H has to do during a show and just kind of all of those things being played out. I really, really enjoyed seeing that aspect of it.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. Like episode 1, I was hooked when we saw the time-lapse build of Gorilla. Like we always hear about Gorilla and the sacred place that it is and this, that, and the other, and getting to see all of those kind of things, plus it being constructed. People probably don't realize that that is a room that is built for every single show, and it's different for every single show. It's like, it's right behind the entranceway, and it's not just an office they find somewhere or, whatever. Yeah. So they build it every time. And that was so cool to be able to see that. I think my overall takeaway for Unreal is the way that Triple H runs things and the demeanor and attitude from everybody. It just seems like that they all really enjoy working under his leadership. And I know that we have heard things for a little while since he took over about how the atmosphere has changed backstage, and from people that drop in from time to time like, oh, it's different from when I was there, that Triple H is there running the show now. But we now can get to see that on camera more than ever. Andy, I think Triple H is the ultimate player's coach, if I can borrow a football term.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a reason why, especially the young generation of wrestlers call him Papa H, is because he is that wrestling father figure for a lot of the talent. And so seeing just the relationship that he has built with everybody, he is that veteran presence that a lot of the young talent can go to, but he also has that demeanor of dealing with guys like Cena and Orton and, guys that have been in the business for a long time. He knows how to communicate with them and not just beat around the bush, or he knows how to approach them with ideas and things like that without being demanding, probably like Vince was, but being like, this is the idea we have. Let's have an open conversation about what's the best outcome for everybody. And so I think that's probably like the biggest takeaway I had as well. And then when The Rock showed up, honestly, my belief system went from about 60 to about 40 while he was on camera every single time. Seeing that perspective of things and seeing how they did the Cena heel turn and The Rock's presence at the Raw Netflix debut and everything else, it put some things into perspective, but it still also brought up, I think, a lot more questions as well as to why they went the route they went and the way they did it.
Yeah. I'm with you. In the fact that I really enjoyed seeing how the Cena heel turn all got put together. I was amazed at the fact that supposedly, if Triple H's timeline is correct, John Cena was the last one to find out in that inner circle of people. Yeah. I found that absolutely hilarious because I would have thought Cena would have been the first. And then you trickle the idea out. But no, he was the last. I thought that was really interesting. I'm not as on the negative side of Rock as you are. And I understand that, I understand why you are. I'm not knocking you because you are. I'm not as... I don't think he's lying as much as maybe we think he is. There's an exaggerated truth to some of what he says because that's wrestling. Like him saying that the final boss is the greatest heel of all time. I'd say he's up there. I wouldn't say that he's the greatest, but I would say that the way that he was able to change his character and drum up the business for when he did in 2024, Cody's run to the championship, it was arguably as impactful as any heel that has ever been in the world of wrestling. I don't know, man. They talked about Rock's involvement and how much Rock loves wrestling and how they wanted to bring Rock on to help with the Elimination Chamber business. But I don't know. I know we often talk about when we're watching things on camera that we want to see Rock more, but the way that they talked about him and the way they alluded to stuff, I feel like we would see him more. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I completely agree. And, I think he does have, obviously he does have a mind for the business. And you see that in a lot of the ways that things are portrayed and the way that, he has his own creative team for a reason. And so they work together well with the main creative, it seems like. But especially with this whole Cena heel turn thing, I think this is fascinating to see. It's interesting to me that they just straight up confirmed, we kind of turned Cena heel because we needed numbers at Elimination Chamber. It's the middle pay-per-view between the Rumble and between WrestleMania, and we have to have a massive shock factor. Which hearing the Rock's idea of Kevin Owens leaving with the title, that piqued my interest a lot. Of that would have been really interesting to see that wrinkle kind of thrown in. But Nick Khan kind of just straight up confirmed, we had to do something really big to get butts in seats for Elimination Chamber and to get people talking. And the only thing we could do, one of the only things we could do was turn Cena heel. That kind of blew my mind that they kind of just confirmed that outright.
Yeah, it was definitely very interesting. Again, made for entertainment. They're going to give us nuggets, but as wrestling fans, they're smart. They're not going to give us everything. So we didn't get to see everything as far as the debates back and forth on what happened. We did get a peek into the writer's room, which is what this whole series really was based around. That's what a lot of the trailer was. We got to see the writer's room. We got to hear debates back and forth. But Andy, that's one of the things that I actually wanted to see more of. It seemed like there was a consensus of Punk or Cena winning the Royal Rumble. And then Michael Hayes or Ed Koskey suggested Jey Uso. And then we skip to Triple H talking to Jey, and then we go to the Rumble. Yeah. Same thing with WrestleMania. Punk was slotted to win for the triple threat match, or initially. And then we saw a little bit of that back and forth. But like, I wanted to see more of the debate back and forth and the deciding. I guess one of the things that I was missing with this, and you can weigh in on this and then let me know what you thought was missing. I'm glad that we saw the behind the scenes of the tentpole events, but I want to see some week to week stuff. Like we talk about all the time how things change. I want to see some change. I want to see that, oh, you decided this. Triple H alluded to it when he said, well, you know, along the way, Rhea Ripley lost her championship going into WrestleMania. Okay, how did that happen? That's what I want to know. You know what I mean? So just, I wanted to see more of the ever-changing week-to-week stuff.
Yeah, and I kind of wanted to see more of, like, the timeline of when these conversations were happening. Like, was the Rumble conversation happening, like, 2 weeks before the event, or was this conversation happening a month before?
The only stamp of time that they gave us, I think they said something like 11 days before WrestleMania or something along those lines.
Yeah,
with the Roman, Punk, and Rollins triple threat. But to exactly to your point, we didn't get a frame of reference except for that conversation.
Yeah, and I would have loved to have seen, like, you know, how, because we talk about early booking or like long-term storytelling, how long-term that decision actually was.
Yep.
And seeing all of that, I think would have been really, really interesting. I agree. I wish we'd have got more of the writers' room. Maybe the greatest pitch I ever heard for a women's Royal Rumble.
Oh my God.
That would have happened. I would have lost. Because as he was talking, I'm like, this dude's an idiot. He has no idea what he's doing. And then when he said Chelsea Green, I went, he's a genius. He's an absolute genius, because that is a great idea.
Yeah. Yeah. I wrote that down in my notes as well. I was like, that's incredible. And to piggyback on what you're saying, that happened during the women's episode in episode 3. What did you think of them? Okay, I'm going to try to say this, and I don't want to sound disrespectful, because I'm not being disrespectful at all. I don't mean, I'm very happy that, of course, the women got their own designated episode, and it was very focused on what was going on the women's side. But as Stephanie McMahon said, and as Triple H said, how they are just as important as the guys and how their role is just as big. We all know that. I wish it would have been more, let's just filter them throughout the whole thing rather than just devote a whole thing. You know what I mean? Because like the Royal Rumble stuff, or I'm sorry, the Chelsea Green U.S. Championship stuff, all of that happened before the Royal Rumble. So we could have, led with that. As, I wanted to see it more. Everything has a chronological place rather than just one episode. What do you think about that?
I like that both Rumbles got their own specific episode to go through and give time to flesh out what they did for each Rumble.
Sure.
And I like the fact that, obviously we followed certain people throughout this entire thing. We followed Cody and Cena and Punk and Rhea, and Chelsea Green off and on. I like that we followed Rhea throughout, like from the beginning.
Yep.
Through like on most of the episodes, we got something with Rhea, we got something with Bianca. So I like that they sprinkled that throughout. But it did seem very scattered and not like time.
Right.
It seemed like we didn't have a great timeline of things actually happening. It just seemed like we kind of threw things together for each episode. And I wish we'd have gotten more of like a timeline, like you mentioned, Chelsea Green stuff happening at the Elimination Chamber, but then they jump to her winning the U.S. title, and then they jump back. Like, I wish we'd have got a timeline follow through with everybody. Yep. Week to week or episode to episode.
Yeah. It was a little bit jumbled, but I mean, I thought they encompassed everything really well, and I thought they told a very nice story, and the episodes were put together very well. That's my only it's my only real issue with how the things were put together. If you're just now checking us out, this is Squared Circle Radio. This is a bonus episode. We're talking all about WWE Unreal and our reaction to the new Netflix series. I'm Chris Belcher. That is Andy York. Make sure you're subscribed to the podcast. If you're listening on podcast, make sure you're subscribed to the YouTube channel. That helps us a ton. Hit that like button on the video. Drop those comments and questions and your thoughts about WWE Unreal. Now, Andy, we know, based on last year's Behind the Curtain WrestleMania documentary, we knew that our expectations shouldn't be too high for this show. And once, they made it seem like this is the ultimate behind the scenes look, which it was. You mentioned it, I mentioned it. We got to see things in Gorilla that we have never seen before. And we talked about how Triple H's leadership skills were on display and just the whole atmosphere. One of the things to spotlight, one of the guys that you left out when you were mentioning who this followed, which is fine because I want to get to this specifically, and we joked about it before we started recording, Jey Uso. The big point of the trailer was that Triple H telling Jey Uso he's going to strap a rocket to him, and he ends up winning the Rumble and winning the championship at WrestleMania. But it didn't come without its hiccups. Andy, it was really, really cool to see how Triple H approached the whole thing and how honest Jey was about being blown up in matches and how singles wrestling is way different than tag team wrestling, but yet Triple H still had the faith in him. He executed when he needed to, and it made for a great underdog story all the way from Rumble to WrestleMania. But I thought it was really cool how all of that was handled. It was like, we can have something special here, but Jay's got to put the work in. And Jey did. So it was cool to see it from that side.
Yeah. I think that was one of the more interesting aspects of the documentary was seeing just the transformation Jey went through from before Rumble to all the way to WrestleMania.
Yep.
I mean, listen, we were in the building for the Rumble,
yep,
and we both could hear how popular Jey was.
Yep.
But that one shot that even Triple H mentioned as he's walking to the ring and the entire arena
yep,
was yeeting as he's walking down to the ring. Seeing that moment, obviously as a Punk fan, do I wish Punk would have won the Rumble?
Of course.
Absolutely. Seeing that moment, I literally, because Katie and I were watching this together, some of these episodes together, I looked at her and went, that's why Jey won. And It makes total sense why Jey won. Like it was a brilliant business decision for him to win. But then I love the fact that Triple H didn't cower to Jey. Not cower to Jey is not the right word, but like was on him every week. Like, we got to get that stamina up. We got to get better. Like we got to hit these points. We got to hit these marks. And it goes back to that press conference he did maybe post Rumble, post Elimination Chamber, where Triple H was like, is Jey Uso the best wrestler in the world? No, he's not. But he's entertaining and he has all the parts to get better. And so you see that kind of backstage conversations happening with Jey. And credit to Jey Uso. I mean, listen, I don't think we all realized how quick of a turnaround his singles career became after being a tag guy. And it takes a long time to get like ring ready and to get singles like competition ready.
Yep.
But when push came to shove, by the time he got to WrestleMania, he had put in the work to get better and to do what he needed to do. I hated that they made me relive Gunther tapping out again too. that part, I was like, I don't want to watch this part. I know it's about to happen. I don't want to watch this. But yeah, that whole story of them telling Jey Uso's story throughout the last, couple months, I think that was fantastic.
I think what was also fantastic, and you're going to love this, I'm sure you ate this up as you were watching it, is being able to follow CM Punk throughout this story and being able to see him just talk about, the impact of him coming back and, what would have happened in those 10 years, all those discussions that were had where he didn't come back. What would have happened if he would have come back sooner than 10 years? Yeah. Would that impact have been the same? Of course, I already mentioned it seemed like he was one of the first choices to win both at the Rumble and at WrestleMania. Even Triple H was like, Punk is the guy. Like Punk's got to win this WrestleMania match, and he didn't. And the way that they fleshed that out was so cool. But man, for all the crap that Punk and Triple H have seemingly gone through over the years, both of them very candid about it. Dude, the embrace at Gorilla after WrestleMania, and even before when Triple H told him, you've always been a main eventer. You've always been that. And for Punk to say that, basically, that's all I've ever wanted to hear you say. Like, coming from you, like, that's huge. And that he wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Triple H. Number one, goes to show how much of a player's coach and how awesome Triple H actually is. And number two, dude, that moment for CM Punk was just incredible to watch, both on camera and now behind the scenes.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I didn't think I could love Punk more after watching this documentary. I somehow found a way to love him more, just because you see everybody knows the fallout. Everybody knows how nasty of a fallout it was when he left 10 years ago and everything that happened between him and Vince and Triple H. But you can tell literally all he wanted to do in his career was main event WrestleMania.
Yep.
And, you know, a lot have argued, including myself, that should have happened at least once already, if not a couple of times.
Right.
But to see him finally get that opportunity and get that moment, and just to see the impact of how important that actually was to him.
Yeah.
And to see the impact of how much that meant to him to main event WrestleMania. I think that was one of my favorite aspects, to see just the raw emotion, you know, after the match was over, and just seeing him in tears saying, I did it. Like, I finally did it. I finally main evented WrestleMania. I finally was able to do this.
Yep.
But one of the other things I took away about Punk is, even though he's been gone for 10 years, he just gets the business.
Yeah.
Listening to them go over the Elimination Chamber match and him talking about like the finish and the idea and just seeing all of that, I want him to be a producer someday. Like, I think he could be a WWE producer and put on some amazing matches and produce some amazing stuff.
Yep.
You know, there's the meme going around that whenever Shawn Michaels is done with NXT, CM Punk's the next guy. I could see it.
Yeah, for sure.
I could absolutely see him taking that role in NXT and building the next generation of wrestlers.
No doubt.
Because he just gets it, and he has that connection with a lot of younger wrestlers as well. So just seeing a very different side of Punk and seeing a much more mature or a much more, you know, just a better environment for him to be in WWE. I think that's such a great thing for him and a great thing to see.
Yeah, for sure. If you've noticed, we're not going through this episode by episode. We're not giving you every single thing that happened in the show. Obviously, we want you to go back and watch it, see it for yourself, because we could never do it justice. So we don't want to spend too much longer here going through it, but we do want to give the high points and some of our favorite things. Andy, you just mentioned, and I mentioned as well, that embrace Punk and Triple H was one of our favorite things. What else stood out to you? What are some of your other favorite things that you saw throughout this documentary series?
To see how truly mad Kevin Owens is. I mean, sitting backstage covered in blood, talking through things with Cody Rhodes after their ladder match. Just seeing little moments like that, I really enjoyed seeing that. I don't know if this is a positive as much as something I enjoyed watching through. Man, I cannot stand Bruce Pritchard. Like, that became very clear to me watching this doc. And I think every WWE documentary that comes out that they produce, he looks worse and worse and worse every single time.
You have to explain yourself here, because I love Bruce, and like, this didn't change my perspective on Bruce at all.
Well, the whole interaction with Abyss in the first episode.
Okay.
And just like bringing Abyss through the mud kind of because they went over. What's he supposed to do? The wrestlers are going to do what the wrestlers are going to do.
See, I don't think he drug him through the mud. I think it was a very, before the match, he verified, just get me out at this time. Abyss said, okay, fine. And then as they're going over, and Bruce is like, what's going on? What's going on? And then Abyss is like, I'm trying to get him there. I'm trying to get him there. And then, yes, they start cutting things. And Bruce kept telling him, he's like, no sweat. It's fine. Now, whether Bruce was truly mad or not,
passive-aggressive. It's a little passive-aggressive.
Sure. Sure. But think about it. This was the premiere on Netflix. And everybody's a little on edge. And Bruce, being the guy that is in charge of all of that, he's probably going to be a little ticked off because it's Netflix. But he also kept telling him, hey, no sweat. No sweat. It's fine. So I don't think he put him through the ringer. But then again, it wasn't roses, but the situation wasn't, all roses.
Right. I think my thing is, like, Abyss can only do so much from back there.
Sure.
Like, Punk and Seth are going to do what they're going to do. I mean, listen, Punk literally said as he went out to the ring, I have no boss. I have nobody to tell me what to do. I can do whatever I want.
Right.
Like, that's the mindset he has going out to the ring. I'm pretty sure Seth Rollins has a very similar mindset when he goes out to the ring too. So, and I think Bruce even said it when he was talking over, like, when the guys are out there, it's kind of in their hands. Like, there's not much we can do. There's not much we can change.
Yep.
But that whole seen, I kind of came to realize watching this, the guys I love even more after this, because the way William Regal stepped in and kind of like calmed Abyss down and everything else, that was just fascinating to me to see that side of Regal backstage. I like to see the non-TV version of William Regal. I think that was really fascinating to me.
For sure.
But I guess the part I love the most about all this was just seeing how everything is run week to week, from producers talking to the camera or talking to the truck kind of doing things, to the way they communicate to the referees and what they're communicating to the referees. Triple H not knowing that there are extras in the crowd when Jacob Fatu pushed that dude. That was like, things like that to me are just hilarious and interesting to see.
Yeah, that was really funny. I'm like you, man. I love the bounce back and forth between Triple H and the truck during the Elimination Chamber stuff with the Cena stuff. That was really cool to see how they communicated through that and all that kind of stuff. I found it hilarious that after the triple threat match between Punk, Rollins, and Roman, that Michael Hayes says, God loves wrestling. I'm not this smart. Nobody else could give me these ideas. Oh, that was so good.
I popped. I lost it when he said that. I was dying laughing.
Oh, geez, that was so funny. Okay, so that's some fun things. What did you not like about this docuseries? If you look back over these 5 episodes, and it's rumored that we're going to get more, so the format could change a little bit. We could go a little more in depth, focus on some more wrestlers. Okay, but what did you not like about this specific 5-part series?
Again, kind of going back, like, it didn't feel like it was following a timeline.
Sure.
Like, it kind of was, but then again, like, it kind of wasn't throughout each episode too.
Yep.
I think that to me was not frustrating, but just like, we keep jumping around different sections, different areas. I kind of wish we'd have got more. I wish we'd have got more in the writer's room. Like, I wish we'd have got more of hearing those conversations, hearing those back and forths. And I wish we'd have got more of seeing, like, what it's like to go through rehearsals beforehand. We got a peek of it at Elimination Chamber.
Yep.
But I mean, like, WrestleMania, what really goes on in putting on a WrestleMania match? Like, what, what steps are there to take? What, do you rehearse with each other? Do you just rehearse with a producer?
Or special entrances too. Like special
entrances, like things like that. I wish we'd have got more of a behind the scenes look at that.
Yep.
And just kind of got through there. And again, like, I wish we'd have followed some other wrestlers too.
Of course.
Obviously we got the main ones. I feel like if Kevin Owens got his WrestleMania match, I feel like it would have been great to follow him for those few months as well.
Yep.
Sami Zayn too, like just people like that. I wish we'd have got a little bit more of.
I'm going to piggyback exactly on that. I wanted to hear from the people who didn't make it on the WrestleMania card. Like, they started the show talking about how big WrestleMania is. Now it's a Super Bowl and how not everybody makes the show. I wanted to hear from a Bailey, or I wanted to hear from a Chelsea Green, or I wanted to hear from somebody like that who wasn't on the card. Like, just Karrion Kross, somebody who didn't make the card. I mean, Chelsea was right there. Like, she was right there. So I would have liked to have seen that. I wish, obviously, that we would have seen a little more of why Rock wasn't at WrestleMania. I know that he has said it, but I would like to have seen a little bit more, maybe from Triple H's perspective, on why he wasn't there, Cody's perspective, and Andy, who knows, as the world of wrestling is changing, if that's going to get fleshed out, and they're holding that.
Yeah.
We don't know what they cut out. We don't know what's left on the cutting room floor. Cena even said something about the heel turn. He said, I can't tell you that because it's ever changing. It's not over yet.
That was a great answer he gave.
Yeah, that was fantastic. Speaking of John Cena, I will say this as we close up here and as we look towards SummerSlam this weekend. The way that everybody talks about John Cena and the way everybody talked about Cody Rhodes in that very first episode, that makes me think that might not be close to a Cody Rhodes heel turn as we look ahead to SummerSlam. Like, just the way he's been positioned as that guy, I I don't know. WWE is very intentional about what they do and when they release things and how they release it. So I just feel like that some of this stuff is going to fall in line with SummerSlam this weekend.
Yeah, or it could be there to subvert our expectations, and then
that's true too. Yep, that's true
and then
too.
They pull the trigger. Listen, the way Triple H talks about Cody, he sees him as the same as Cena.
Yes.
Of just building up the face of the company, the number one guy, doing all the promotional stuff, doing all the TV stuff, being the top guy. Like that. That's how they look at Cody. I could see that. Like I could absolutely see that. But again, like we talked about on the show Monday, I think you could easily put Roman Reigns in that spot too.
Yes.
And it keeps going. It's the same thing. Obviously, Roman's not going to be there as much.
Right.
But I do think you could do that. And that's something else I wish we got a little bit more of, like seeing Roman throughout this. We only got a couple of moments with him, if anything. We didn't get like behind the scenes stuff. And I feel like everything that happened with Paul Heyman, why we didn't get, and Seth, like we didn't really even follow Seth that much. He just kind of popped up from time to time. So maybe they denied, maybe they just said they didn't want to do it. Maybe they just decided Punk's going to be the guy we follow for this part. And then maybe we follow one of the other two for the next one. But it's some of the choices or some of the people they left out that were very heavily a part of WrestleMania, I think was interesting to see.
Yep. I completely agree. All right. Well, we appreciate you guys being with us on this bonus episode as we talk about WWE Unreal, the brand new Netflix series. Go check it out for yourself. Take you about 5 hours or so. It's 5 episodes or about an hour each. It's fantastic. If you're a wrestling fan, these behind the scenes documentaries, Andy, this is a glorified WWE 24 documentary, really, for a new set of fans maybe that's not used to that kind of format, with a little bit deeper dive into the writer's room and into Gorilla and that kind of thing. Because we've seen that kind of stuff before on 24. But it's a little bit deeper. It's really cool. Go back and check it out. If you're new to the podcast, if you're new to the YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button. We would appreciate it. We are going to be live this weekend after SummerSlam. Got Andy and some friends coming over to my house to watch it, so it's going to be a blast. We're going to be live right here for you. Check out on the YouTube channel in the archives both Monday's episode and then the shorter videos where we're going to drop our previews, predictions. All of that's available on the channel in the archives, so go check it out. Andy, as we started the show by saying, it's a loaded week. We finally got the Unreal series. I'm anxious for season 2 whenever they do it, probably leading into next year's WrestleMania if I had to bet. But man, it's a fun time. Wrestling is hot, and I can't wait to see what happens on the other side of this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, this is feels like the pushing off point heading towards, Survivor Series, and then we're heading back towards the Rumble and WrestleMania. It's just a circle that never ends, but it's going to be a fun journey. I think we could see a lot of the landscape of how things are right now completely different and change with SummerSlam on Saturday and Sunday. So I'm looking forward to it.
Last year, the OTC Roman Reigns returned at SummerSlam. I'm not saying we're getting a return this year, but you never know what's going to happen as SummerSlam is being billed as the WrestleMania of the summer. It feels as important as WrestleMania. So earth-shattering things can happen. Andy, heck, if they can call up The Rock to drum up business for the Elimination Chamber on the road to WrestleMania, shoot, they could do anything for SummerSlam, right?
They could. They absolutely could.
All right. We appreciate you guys again being with us. Subscribe on the way out if you haven't already. Rate and review the show on podcast if you're listening on that platform. We would appreciate that so much. That's Andy York. My name is Chris Belcher, and this has been another edition of Squared Circle Radio. We'll catch you guys down the road.